Did you know there was a time when Degster was considered one of the most talented players in CIS? Just think about this. At the end of 2020, HLTV released a big article about 19-year-old Abdul Gasanov, who was still playing at the Tier 3 level but looked to have a very bright future. And what do you think happened? Just 2.5 years later, this guy made it to the major semifinals. But now there's a big question mark over Degster's career. It's been more than half a year since he played his last official game for a full-time team, and the last time he appeared in some serious insides was way back in June. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, because you're watching CYBERSHOKE, and today we'll tell you the story of Degster and try to find out why he still hasn't joined any strong team. Hey guys, recently we started to be a lot more active on Twitter and post about every update there. We already have more than 15,000 subscribers, and it looks like we're only missing you. Be sure to follow us via the link in the description. Overall, we're pretty happy about the state of our servers. Not that long ago, we launched B-Hop, Surf, and KZ with a timer and leaderboard on our website. In total, we have 17 game modes with locations in Europe and North America. Check it out. We'll put a link in the description. Abdul Gasanov was born in Dagestan, and from early childhood, he liked everything about technology and video games. Degster remembers that at 6 years old, he begged his brother to take him to the gaming club to play some CS. But our little guy couldn't even reach the keyboard and mouse at the same time, so these two shared controls the old-fashioned way. The older brother took control of walking, and the younger brother shooting. Degster is very proud to have been raised in a very athletic family. All his brothers have an official title of Master of Sports, though some of them are candidates, and he himself spent all his childhood outside and exercised every morning. In time, Abdul started to follow the Counter-Strike professional scene and dreamed of getting there. He points out that it wasn't a quick decision, but rather a long process. Thanks to playing so many video games, Abdul skipped a lot of classes, but managed to get good grades in the process. He planned to finish 11 years of school, but left earlier. Soon enough, he found himself in law school. Back then, local esports teams in Dagestan consisted of adult men who had jobs and families, viewing CS as just a hobby. All these people were amazed by Abdul's 200 hours in 2 weeks and invited him to teams due to his skill. Of course, such a schedule isn't possible while also going to law school, and Degster remembers that at some point, he started to skip college so often that he showed up maybe only once a month. One time, Abdul was walking home from a LAN tournament at 4 a.m., holding 15,000 rubles of prize money, and his mom was already awake, and she asked him whether he planned to go to college the next day. He said no and went to bed. By the time Degster woke up, his mom already switched him to start taking remote learning. This was actually very good news to him. In 2018, Abdul got to his first HLTV event. It was a LAN in Moscow with a $15,000 prize pool and many great players. Degster had a very long conversation with his parents about this trip, but eventually they agreed to let him go and bought him a ticket to Moscow as his birthday gift. In that tournament, his team lost to Boomich in the quarterfinals, and they stopped just one win short of getting $2,000. Meeting Finnegan helped Abdul get onto his first professional team. When Finnegan got accepted to Espada, he asked them to test Degster out. This way, our hero got noticed by Overdrive, who quickly saw a big talent in him. In Espada, each player had a salary of 20,000 rubles, or about $300 at that time. This was very good money for a young player, and it was at that moment that Abdul's parents realized that their son was showing that he could actually make some money through esports, and they stopped doubting his passion so much. As a player, Degster consistently delivered some great stats, but also had to do things his way. For example, when Overdrive invited him to Espada, he mentioned that he couldn't guarantee that Degster would be able to play AWP because they already had another player for it, Defo. Degster responded to this very calmly, saying that he wouldn't join the team at all if they didn't give him AWP. As a result, he became Espada's main sniper, and Defo switched to Valorant and became the world champion sometime later. In terms of results, Espada played as a usual academy created for finding young prospects. The guys took part in some open qualifiers and online tournaments, but suffered lots of losses too. In 2019, they didn't show many good results, but then ended up earning $15,000 from 3 tournaments in November and December. In 2020, they continued to grow. By fall, Espada out and made it to the top 30 in HLTV rankings, and started to give a good fight to some decent Tier 2 teams. By the end of the year, the guys even qualified for the DreamHack Open. It was becoming more and more obvious that Degster was ready to play on a more serious level. Thankfully, Abdul knew Team Spirit's coach. They played some test games with Degster and invited him to replace Disbalance in January 2021. In the press release, the organization called him one of the most talented young players in CIS and revealed plans to have him sign a long-term contract with them. The guys had a great start together and won their very first tournament. It was a DreamHack Open that was actually held online because of the lockdowns happening at the time, and for the first half of 2021, Spirit showed first-class CS and even made it to 6th place in HLTV rankings. Besides the victory on that DreamHack, they also reached the semifinals on Pinnacle Cup, Blast Showdown, and IEM in Katowice. In Katowice, the community noticed how much time Abdul spent on personal training. After the successful game against the strong Astralis, he said to himself that the tournament had not ended, then launched aimbots and spent 6 hours there. Degster remembers about that time that they had a prac with Dignitas, and Forrest asked him, "Hey, how much do you train to be so great?" In May of 2022, ESIC restricted Hallie, Spirit's coach, from taking part in the upcoming major. It seemed pretty unfair, considering that the commission announced this just a single day before the tournament. Degster remembers this situation annoyed him a lot, and it gave him extra motivation to impress everyone with some good results. And as a result, Spirit reached the semifinals and gave a great fight to the future champions FaZe.
Spirit moving in, FaZe are here, they're ready for this. This hole decides it all. Carrigan up and over the top, and here in the Diamond City, he's going huge, going nuclear like FaZe going to the grand final. The shiny knife to do it.
Just about a month after that major, the community was shocked by the news about Degster leaving Team Spirit. No one could understand why it happened, and all the statements were very unclear. For instance, that same manager who planned on signing a long-term contract with Abdul now called his departure an uneasy event for the team, and added that Spirit has a strict plan for their roster and they wouldn't bend over backwards just for the sake of one player, even if he is a top-level superstar. A bit later that day, Degster noticed how much noise there was about his leave, and so he gave a more detailed statement. He said that the org was demanding that players spend at least 9 months a year in Serbia, and there was no way he could agree to that. Abdul then added that his decision is 100% personal and has nothing to do with politics, and he expressed big respect to Spirit's manager, Shesher. It turns out that the org made Degster choose between moving to Serbia and leaving the team, and he simply picked the latter. And the hype was so big just because no one expected Spirit to want to remove their star player right after reaching the top 4 on the major. Then just a few days later, Degster got contacted by the OG CEO who offered him to be a stand-in for his team at the upcoming Blast tournament. Obviously, Abdul agreed, and although he had to go through an exhausting 20-hour-long flight, he fit in perfectly with the roster and dropped a minimum of 35 frags and pracs. When he asked his new teammates about what his role was in the team, they responded with, "Your role is to do what you want to do, and we'll adapt." Abdul remembers that as an amazing period in his career when he felt the most trust in himself. Although OG played with a stand-in, they still reached the semifinals, and Degster showed his famous slaps to the whole world. After that Blast, the community went back to discuss Degster's departure from Spirit, this time in a rather negative way. You see, the ex-coach of Spirit said that the organization has its core values, and there's no way these people could agree to build a team around one specific player. The former coach said that it was all a matter of time. Abdul was a very kind but inconsistent person who couldn't live without some hyperbolized problems. In a few months, Degster would respond to this by stating that Spirit teammates had always asked him to do some things that felt really confusing, and they just said that one day he would understand, and he really didn't like that about them. Later, Abdul also said that he would never join a Russian-speaking team other than Na'Vi. He added to that the fact that none of the other top teams need a sniper. Virtus.pro have Jame, and Cloud9 Shiro. So, Degster tried to join some European orgs in order to quote-unquote grow as a person. After that blast, where our hero was standing in for OG, Overdrive leaked his buyout. It was a pretty big $300,000. The community quickly realized that if this number was leaked, then for sure something must be going on, and some top org may be interested in signing Degster. Later, Abdul revealed that he was invited to some of the best teams in the world, and some snipers laughed at him, not knowing that their org was thinking about replacing them with Degster. July 15, 2022, Abdul managed to get married and find a team the same day. He had a wedding with a Russian actress named Anastasia Budkova and signed a contract with OG. Degster said that OG completely rebuilt their system to suit his playstyle, and he values that a lot, a polar opposite to Spirit, who refused to set everything up for just one player. In August, the guys took first place in the group stage of Blast Fall, and the whole from Spirit to OG situation looked like a win-win for everyone, except for maybe Mantu, who wasn't that happy about getting kicked. Overall, the results were great though. OG were pretty happy about their new AWPer, and Abdul himself was bragging about how much potential they had if they're already playing on the same level with FaZe and Na'Vi. Even Spirit had only positive feedback about the whole thing. For instance, Padsy said that he likes to play with Wonderful a lot more than with Degster. But sadly, it was the only time that Degster would land first place with OG. Moreover, it's not really even fair to call it first place, because actually there were 3 teams who all earned a similar amount of money and an invite to the final event of the season. There were no cups or even medals given. And unfortunately, in the very next tournament, OG didn't even make it through the group stage, losing to the Chinese team Wings Up.
And Wings Up are just trying to figure out exactly where the CTs are going to creep in from. And they've got a pretty good read. Post plans decent, head spotted! And Wings Up have taken the win over OG 2-0. Tell me that a day ago and I'd laugh in your face, but they're here to prove some points.
Degster commented on that loss, saying that the team didn't have time for preparation due to some technical moments. But it wasn't the end of the failures. In the next tournaments, OG showed some poor results again and didn't even make it to the top 16 in Rio. In 2022, Degster took 24th place in HLTV's yearly rating. A big reason for this placing was due to the blast in December, when OG reached semifinals and Abdul showed some beast-level performance. On the next major, the team also didn't pass through the challengers. Degster was the 8th best player of the stage, but that wasn't enough. After that, Thorin said that he needed a more powerful team. So in just a few days, OG registered a roster without Degster. Officially, Abdul planned to have a little rest, but Harumi said that he was already benched. Overdrive confirmed this information and added that Degster left by his own choice. On June 20th, Abdul officially announced his departure from OG and said this: "Well, this is the end of my journey with OG. It was my first experience working with an international roster, and it was amazing. We had some memorable ups and downs, but I regret nothing. I feel only gratitude for the opportunity that I had, but it's time to move on." Also, Abdul added that he didn't know he was going to be benched. This comment created a controversy with Overdrive's Inside, who said that it was Degster's wish to leave the team. Today, his professional career is on a very long hold. It's been about 6 months since Abdul last played for some full-time team. Some insiders say that he has been tested by some teams, but those are just rumors. But while waiting for an offer for some decent team, Abdul hasn't been totally off the radar. He's been growing his social media presence in his downtime. He streams, posts to Telegram, and even has his own news media. It's obvious that he kinda likes it. And actually, a few days ago, he released a short statement about wanting to continue his career. year. He said, "I want to join a team that is capable of winning, which has always been my goal. I will do everything to achieve that goal with my next team." New Year's break isn't too far away, and Counter-Strike will go through another transfer period. What do you think? Will Degster join some strong European team? Let's discuss it in the comments. And of course, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe because you are watching CYBERSHOKE. Bye for now.